What's going on, guys? Zuco back with another Shadowlands video. Okay, I'm not going to drag out all my intros from here on out. I was just having fun with that one, but we're all done with that because it's not funny anymore. Okay. How are you all doing? Let's get some coffee. Let's take a drink here. What are we talking about today? We are going to talk about possibly, I think, the highest dungeon I've ever done in Mythic Plus, I think in BFA, the previous expansion, I might have done a plus 20, like Told to Gore or something. Fatum, I think, was talking about it. But either way, we did a plus 19 Mists of Tyrannus Scythe, and I did it a couple days ago with Hero and Fatum, and we just kind of slapped it. It actually wasn't that difficult. Now, we did have the Warlock with us, and you're going to see in the video footage that Warlock has since been nerfed. Destruction Warlock has been nerfed since we did this dungeon twice. They've been nerfed twice. Yesterday, they got nerfed twice. So there's a reason that they're getting nerfed. They do way too much damage, but they're not going to be like bad. They're just going to be like kind of in line with everybody else now. But you'll see, we do this Mist of Tyrannus side. The Warlock kind of carries the damage, which is good. But we have a lot of other jobs that we need to do in the dungeon. It's very important. Shaman always has jobs that they can do, which is really cool. Obviously, with your kick being so good, cap totem being so good, there's just so many tools that we have. So really, really good. You're going to see Tremor totem used on the first boss. I'll talk about all that stuff, and I'll get into my build. Let me just get my notes up over here. Everybody just, kick back, relax. Let me talk really quickly about sort of strategy with the higher keys. I'm just noticing that as we push into the higher keys, that the strategy for how you do the keys kind of changes, right? So I actually just did a plus 17 DOS yesterday, and I did 14.7k overall. First of all, that was really good damage. So we'll talk about that later. But the strategy for which the way you pull the dungeon, the types of automas that you need to kill, like on the DOS dungeon that we did, we killed the Woe Automa almost more than we killed anything else, because it's like helps you to skip packs that are like really annoying to deal with, and then you can spend your time instead killing packs that are easier to kill. There's so many like important strategic options that are available to you when you are in the higher keys, and you have to utilize them or else you won't complete these keys. It's not just about, tank and spank blasting the mobs anymore. You really do need to you have to be a little bit more clever about it. You have to employ some interesting strategies in order to get that done. So I'm really enjoying that. I'm going to show you some of those strategies in the mists that we did here in order to get this done. And you're going to see that it's just really, really important once you get to those higher keys. If you're pushing like plus 10 to plus 15 keys right now, you can just do them normally. There's nothing really special about it. But once you get into the 18, 19, 20s, you do need to start respecting the dungeon and like how frustrating certain mobs are to kill, or sections of the dungeon that you should absolutely just skip entirely. Different tools that you can use to maybe make the dungeon easier. So you're going to see that in this mist that we do. But first of all, let's get to our build. What build did we run here? The build that we ran was actually kind of bad. I thought that I would flex into a Witch Doctor Wolfbone sort of more tyrannical single target boss focus build, and it just turned out to be much worse. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. So we did run Witch Doctor Wolfbones, and we were Night Fae. And so what I actually want to say right off the bat is that if you're going to run this build, I think it would work really well as Necrolord. I think the Night Fae one is it's just for some reason nowhere near as good, even though you can get lots of dogs out. Like, that's the main reason you have the Necrolord or the Night Fae secondary legendary effect, where it's like you summon your wolves and then you use Fate Transfusion, then you can summon your wolves again. That's pretty cool, but it's not as good as the haste from the Necrolord one. So that would be my first kind of comment. But we did run Witch Doctor Wolfbones as Night Fae. Standard talent setup. We'd had a hot hand focused, lava lash focused build, plus hailstorm to generate stacks of maelstrom weapon to reduce the cooldown on the dogs, with chilled to the core conduit down here. I did run Karain, of course, so you're getting about 10% more damage at the top end of an enemy's health, and then you get 5% more damage at the bottom end of an enemy's health. Both of those sort of execute zones, the first execute and then the bottom execute, you get extra damage there, which is good. And then, of course, first strike for the crit is very, very, very good. 5 seconds of crit is very strong every time you damage an enemy, and that refreshes when you damage a new enemy. So really good stuff. It's actually great. I ran Focus Lightning and Chill to the Core. You have to drop a Potency Conduit, so a little sad, but Essential Extraction is not the end of the world. And I was running a Witch Doctor Wolfbones build, so I didn't go Magma Fist. I went Chilled to the Core. So There's ways to make this build better. I 100% admit that, and I'm going to work on making it better with something like, you know, Necrolord and maybe switching out the Conduits a little bit. So that's the build. Let's jump into the video and see how it all kind of shook out, basically. How did it go down? So this is the opening pack here. It is Tyrannical Storming Sanguine. So, again, the boss fights lasted like an eternity, and then there's Storming Sanguine. Here's what the tank does right off the bat here. He's going to pull the patrolling doggo dudes, and he's going to go left over here and grab all of this, and we're grabbing the Woe Automa because we're going to skip. Okay? So this is a pretty big, kind of a giant pull here. I end up... this build's just, it's just not as good. I don't do a lot of damage. Let's just say that right off the bat. I'm not going to end up doing a lot of damage here. The Warlock and the tank are doing ridiculous amounts of damage. So what I should have been doing instead was focusing really hard on kicking. I should have been kicking. I did just heal everybody. Like, my healing's at 5.7k. So the off healing from Fate Transfusion, just like Chain Harvest, is very good. Don't get me wrong. That stuff is really, really good. But my damage is just really low. I should have been saving my kick for this. I kicked the Woe Automa because he does a big burst of AoE damage, and I should have just saved my kick for this because the Harvest Essence is so nasty. You need to kick this. Let me just pull these up really quick.
We didn't kick that.
There we go.
I was kicking other stuff.
So we do end up surviving because the healer's doing fantastic, doing a lot of healing. So is the tank. I get stunned in Sanguine, and the healer manages to keep me alive, which is awesome. We do end up getting through this pack, and we kill the Woe Automa. Remember, when you kill the Woe Automa, you have about a minute, I think, of his buff. Yeah, it's an entire minute before the buff wears off. So you have lots of time to utilize it, but sometimes you have to be careful. You don't want it to time out.
Twice. I couldn't do any damage at all. I basically kicked, spread my
Sorry, guys, I'm still getting
flames.
over that sickness. Okay, so we'll skip ahead. The Woe Automa has 18 seconds left on our buff. We skip now. This guy right here does have True Sight. You have to be really careful going through here. You can get past him, but the tank pulls him by accident. And then I think he does the Night Elf Shadow Meld to drop it. So that's good from him. And then we get past. You're going to skip to this pack right here. And then this tank takes these 4 guys, and he actually pulls them into the 2 big guys. Again, I think this is one of the strategies that I want to talk about. When I talked earlier in the video about the strategies for higher Mythic Plus stuff, this is one of them, where the tank needs to be able to pull enormous packs of monsters, especially on a Tyrannical week, because you don't have the Fortify buff on these mobs. They're weak mobs, essentially. So you can afford to pull more of them together. The Druid in particular is just like a straight up AoE monster, right? The Druid just presses Thrash. The Guardian Druid just presses Thrash. And then we have a Warlock who's going to do Rain of Fire, and he's going to do friggin' 35,000 damage per second here. And I'm not doing any damage, basically, which is sort of dumb. But I'm saving my kick for Harvest Essence this time, making sure I'm ready for that. I'm kind of more in the supportive role because the build that I'm running just isn't quite kicking it for me. But the point is, you play to your strengths. If you have a good AoE comp, then go get a bunch of AoE packs. Make the pulls as big as you can possibly make them so that your team can be the most effective they can be. If you have a full AoE team and you pull only 3 or 4 mobs at a time, you're not going to time that dungeon because they need you to pull bigger. So you have to be a little brave on the higher keys, and one of the important strategies is that you're going to have to pull a lot of extra mobs, more than you're probably used to pulling. You're probably only used to pulling these 4 guys who were just here, but now you have to pull the 4 guys and the 2 big guys. You have to pull all 6 of them. So just important stuff to remember. Here's the Ingra boss fight. Shaman is an incredible class to have on the Ingra boss fight because for 2 main reasons. Number 1, you have the best ranged kick in the game. You're going to need to kick Ingra so that the boss can move him, and I'll show you what I mean in a second here. Ingra's going to channel into the tree here. Force Compliance, right there. He's channeling into the tree. That makes the tree spit out all the blue orbs. Once that happens, he starts casting Spirit Bolt right here. Now, the blue orbs are going to essentially stop any melee DPS from doing damage, because if you get hit by the blue orbs, you almost die. So you need to kick Ingra so then the tank can taunt Ingra and move him somewhere else. get out of dodge. So I just kicked him right there, and then the tank's moving to the back of the room. Now, unfortunately, I wasn't really with him, but I'm kind of making my way there. You can see the tank has moved into an open area. This is like the most essential part of the fight for a shaman, in my opinion, because you have this perfectly, the best kick, this ranged kick on a low cooldown. And then this is the second reason why you want to bring a shaman. Right here. He does it after he does force compliance. He's going to do repulsive visage right here. And then you see the chick saying fear incoming. I need to drop Tremor Totem right here. You'll see me click it in a second. Yes, I have to click it. So you click it, and then you get feared for like 1 second, and then it drops. So if you don't have a Tremor Totem, you get feared for the full 3 seconds, which is like you can run into those blue swirlies and just die. So it's really, really critical for all shamans to be kicking the boss so that the tank can move the boss. I just kicked him again right there. Let me just back up, show you that one more time. Kick the boss so that the tank can move him. It looks exactly like this. Right here, Spirit Bolt is going off. I kick that, and then the boss can pull him over here. Kick and pull, and now we're over here. We're in a bit of a safer spot.
Like to kick. This is like my entire
job number 1. Job number 2: put down your Tremor Totem to block fear. That's all you really need to do. Then, of course, you're gonna lust and just blow up Ingra during this phase. Again, we're not doing a lot of damage. We're doing okay damage for single target. It's just that Fatum and Hero are doing way more damage, which is fantastic. I have nothing wrong with that. If you're going to have other people carry the damage for you, it just means that you need to do something else. You need to be available to like help facilitate their damage. Things like kicking, things like stopping the fear, making it so that the other DPS don't even have to think about those problems. You're doing the kicking, you're doing AoE stuns with Cap Totem, you're putting Tremor Totem down, you're getting your Earth Elemental out to help with aggro on the tank. You're doing all these extra things, and then your other DPS can do tons of damage. That's kind of what you're doing. So you have to think about it that way. You have to think that you're essentially helping them do damage because they don't have to think about it anymore. So pretty cool. We kill Ingra. Hero is going to try to pull mobs through the wall with his Warlock pet. You can do this on a Hunter as well. This misty wall over here, he's trying to pull stuff from over here, basically. And you can see him doing it right there. He's tucked up against the wall. I don't really understand how people do this because I don't have a pet class, but he did it. And he pulled them right through. And right as we kill these guys, they come through. So what does this do? What's the point of this? This is sort of high-end Mythic Plus strategy number 2. Strategy number 2 is that you can pull these mobs here so that you don't have to pull more frustrating mobs later on. These mobs are really easy to kill. All they do is do their like spear flurry thing. You can just move out of that. The worms at the end of the dungeon have abilities that you need to kick, like the shield they put on them and then the regeneration that they do. You have to kick both those things. That's like more annoying to deal with. They put the green puddles on the ground. They're just annoying to deal with in general. These guys are really easy to kill. So if you pull these mobs right now and kill them down, then you can take the Woe Automa later, and then you can skip the more annoying mobs. Okay? Yeah. That's strategy number 2. Use the tools with your team to pick and choose which mobs you want to kill. Which ones are easier to kill? Let's go kill those, and then we'll skip the ones that are harder to kill. So that's what Hero does. He pulls it in here. We nuke it all down. And then begins the maze portion of Mists, which I actually love this part. I have this add-on that helps me out, helps me get the maze stuff done. It didn't look like anybody else was going to do the maze puzzle. I think typically the healer should probably be the one to do this, but I couldn't communicate with the healer, and he didn't look like he was going to do it, so I just took it upon myself to be the person to do the maze thing. So my damage in this section will go down a little bit. I basically try to get all my damage out right here, do as much as I can, and then I start doing the puzzle. Also, you want to stun things like Spear Flurry. Your Cap Totem is so huge in this section of the dungeon. So you can see me doing the puzzle there in the bottom. You can barely see it. It's kind of covered by my camera, but I'm doing the puzzle like right down here. That's my add-on. I click it right there, and then it tells me which door to go through. So I end up doing this for every single door here, and that's okay. It just means that I'm, again, helping to contribute for the team.
I'll be the utility man. I have all the jobs to do.
I'm not really doing the most damage in this dungeon. That's okay. Do we want to time this key? Yeah, I want to time this key, so I'm going to help out in whatever way I can. Now, on this pack right here, Hero is pulling more mobs through the wall. He's behind me right now. You can't see him. But he's pulling more mobs through the wall so that, again, we don't have to pull the worms later on, which is really cool. So I'm doing as much damage as I can right now until he pulls the next pack in, and then we'll just continue to burst them down. Here's pack number 2. He's pulled them through the wall. I do have Cap Totem coming back off cooldown, so Cap Totem will be important to use here. I summon Rocky. You can summon Earth Elemental because there's like 8 mobs now, right? Okay. And we're on a plus 19, so they're going to be pretty nasty.
Steady, she goes.
There's an AoE stun from Hero. You got to use all your utility.
Steady.
Here comes Bucking Rampage. Bucking Rampage is a perfect thing to use Cap Totem on. I don't think I use it here, but...
Oh, I'm going to die. Oh, I'm out.
Bucking Rampage will, like, one-shot melees in your group. So... definitely use it, and then you need to kick Nourish the Forest, which I just did right there. Sundering is so good here. You're going to see my Cap Totem. I just put my Cap Totem down. Watch this. Here comes Bucking Rampage, and then he gets stunned right away. Boom. So we stop it from happening, and then I can keep doing damage. I don't have to run away. So at this point, I go and I finish off the puzzle, because that's my job. I figure out exactly where we need to go. The tank's doing his thing. And that's kind of how the midsection of this dungeon plays out. It's just important to understand what you can do to contribute to the boss fight. How do I help my team so that we can all be successful here, right? That's what you want to do. Everybody, we want to do this together. Here comes Mistcaller. Some important notes on this one. You need to have a plan for what you're going to do with the Vulpin. This Vulpin, the fox thing. The fox thing will literally wipe you on this fight multiple times unless you have a plan of what you're going to do.
I don't think we're supposed to, so.
Shaman has an additional tool that we can use for this, and it's called Hex. You can Hex every single Vulpin that comes out. Every single one. Hero was doing a bunch of fear. You can see that it's like double feared over here. And then he gets out and he starts fixating someone again. So Fatum actually just runs in and tanks it for us, which I think he thought it was going to hit, which was actually really cool. That was nice. He pops Ice Block. Everything's fine.
That was a good block.
But really what I should be doing as the Shaman is I should be pressing Hex on this guy every single time it comes out. I didn't do it till later in the fight, I don't think. And I think I was just letting Hero do the fear thing. But really, that should have been my job. I should have been hexing this thing. So I think I do it right on this cast that's coming up. Because then it just lets everybody else do their damage. Like, again, it's one of those things you can do where if you just take care of a mechanic, it takes the brain power off of everybody else. So I cast Hex right here. Boom. Hex is a 20-second cooldown. It's up for every Vulpin. So just remember that Hex is a really good thing to use here. That's about it for this fight. It's just a tank and spank. Just remembering what you have to do here. I mess up here by... I wasn't paying attention to where the shot was, but thank you. I have Incarn, or Reincarn.
Yeah,
we do end up killing her.
At all about what we were doing.
And then we move to the next pack. This is, let me back up a couple seconds. This pack here is the Automa pack that I was talking about earlier. So we killed all those mobs earlier, and it's led us to this moment where we need to kill this Automa so that we can skip all of the worms. Okay? Because these guys are annoying. These Staghorns, you have to have 2 kicks for them for their abilities, or else they shield and regenerate everybody. So it's pretty annoying. So we end up killing this pack. The Automa goes down at the very end. The Drifter. There's that stimulant. Yeah, the regeneration you gotta kick. Here comes the shield you gotta kick. They're just annoying, right? So we burn through this. We have a whole minute of woe, and we run.
I've done that.
Don't fall off the edge.
Woe gives you way too many wheels, man.
It's so fast.
It's right off the bridge. Goodbye.
So we skip the boss for now. We have about 73%. We need to get more percentage. That's okay. He wants to kill this first. I think the bear was waiting for his own cooldowns to come back. Ideally, if you were in a bigger group, you would communicate right then. Okay, do we have cooldowns up right now? Yes or no? Yes, we do. Okay, we're going to pull the boss. Pull the boss and lust and blow all our cooldowns. If we don't have cooldowns, let's go pull some trash until we're ready to go, right? So we end up pulling trash.
That's me.
Absolutely fine. And then let's skip ahead to Tre'dova, which is 138. 23. So Tre'dova, the main thing that you need to do as an enhancement shaman is, again, you need to kick Parasite. This is another kick. It will mind control somebody if you don't do it. Make sure you kick Parasite. You have a ranged kick, and you're going to see that basically what will happen on this fight is she's going to... There's Parasite right there. She will force you to, like, run away with an ability called Mind Link. It's coming out right now. Watch this. Run away. Mind Link links you to other players, and you have to break that tether. So often later in the fight, Tre'dova will cast Mind Link, and then she'll cast Parasite right after, because nobody will be there. We'll all be running away, and so she's going to try and get away with, like, mind controlling somebody. So you as the Shaman, you've arranged low cooldown kick. You need to run away with Mind Link and then also kick Parasite. It happened right there. Watch this. Watch this right here. Here comes Mind Link.
Run away.
I have to run away. I start running away. As soon as I do that, she starts casting Parasite. What a little turd, eh? She starts casting Parasite. I turn back and kick her. Boom. Range kick. There you go. Nobody gets mind controlled. It is your job as the Shaman. On every time you do this boss fight, it's your job to kick this thing. Don't let anybody else do it. Just tell them that you're going to do it. Again, it takes the brain power away from anybody else. It's really, really good. So that's the main thing. Parasite's up again. I kick it again. Nothing else really crazy about this fight. It's, you know, you got to bring the ads in and nuke them down. There's nothing too crazy about it.
Which one is it?
There's Parasite again.
Holy cow, that was good recovery.
Sorry about the jitteriness here.
Get it.
I'm just going to skip past this. We do end up getting it down. The tank did die. I think he got hit with one of the green swirlies, but we got him back up. Not a big deal.
Holy cow, good job.
So Tre'dova dies. We have 17% left.
Yeah, 13.
The tank goes and pulls all the stuff that we didn't pull before, but everybody has cooldowns back again, so Hero and the bear just nuke it down. And then there's a pretty funny moment coming up right here.
That was pretty quick. You guys and your cooldowns.
We have 3 minutes left.
That was an infernal.
That was one Infernal.
That wasn't no infernal.
Oh, cool. Great.
Hero didn't even use Infernal.
I got stag first.
Warlocks
game.
are
Just do
so
damage.
broken. I'm like, everybody just do damage.
I thought I was out of it.
You see the green swirly there? I thought I was out of it.
Oh, good.
Get stag, get stag.
Look at this. Isn't this a cool picture? Look at the rain of fire. Just like Warlock just like doesn't even care about the earth itself. It's just meow, just plowing right through the earth. It's kind of cool. It's kind of a cool picture. Anyway, they end up cleaning it up for me. It's all good. I end up running back, and we time the key, I think, right about here. Sorry for my voice, guys. So I get 14 rating for that.
14 rating.
Really, really
Nice.
good.
I feel like I really contributed at the end there.
You dominated.
So here's what's funny. Here's what's funny, right? Oh, hold on. I'll let this play for a sec. 21K. What?
Yeah, it might get nerfed.
It did get nerfed. It did get
Oh
nerfed.
my god, 21.
Twice. It got
Please.
nerfed twice.
Okay, it's a miss. Okay. Phantom, get on the other side of the bucket. Oh, he already pressed it.
They were hoping for there's the changeling, right? Unbound changeling trinket. I think they were both looking for it. So here's what's funny about this, right? Our damage overall was 12.6k. It's actually not horrible. It just looks horrible when you look at Hero doing 21k. Now, that being said, I have done more damage recently with a PLA build, Primal Lava Actuators plus Necrolord. I did 14.7k in a DOS. Like, so I do think that this Witch Doctor Wolfbone's build is actually worse, even on a Tyrannical week in Mythic Plus. It's just, PLA is just too good right now. Lava Lash is just hitting like way too hard right now. With the amount of mastery scaling that we can kind of get going, it's just insane. I don't know what else to say about it. It's just better. So PLA does seem to be the premier build right now, even on like a Tyrannical week, but in Mythic Plus. But there you go. We did 12.6k overall with a Witch Doctor Wolfbones plus Night Fae build. I actually do think that Witch Doctor Wolfbones plus Necrolord might be able to compete with the PLA damage, and I might try and experiment with that today. But that was my 19. That's the highest dungeon I've done so far, and it wasn't too difficult. I just want to make sure that you drive home the point that as you get into the higher Mythic Plus, there are strategies that you must employ. You must change the way that you think about dungeons. You have to be like, okay, we're going to pull this entire pack over here and this pack over here. We're going to get them together, and we're just going to blow them up. We're going to pop Lust. We're going to use all our cooldowns because that's the composition that we have. We have a Warlock and a Frost Mage. We have a Warrior who's got Spear of Bastion and Bladestorm ready to go. You have to understand your composition and then use it to your advantage. And what do I do as the Shaman if I can't do 40k AoE damage? Yeah, you can't do 40k AoE damage. That's okay. You're still contributing. You're kicking. You're using Cap Totem. You're using Tremor Totem on the first boss fight. You're slowing enemies with Earthbind Totem. You're healing with the Fey Transfusion. Maybe you have Chain Harvest. You're going to heal with that as well. You use Rocky to help soak up some of the damage. There are so many things. Hex, second boss there with the Vulpin. There's just so many tools that you can do, and when you use all those tools, it helps the rest of your team do damage, which means you're essentially contributing to that damage, even though it doesn't show up on the DPS sheet. Do you see what I'm saying there? So that's what I want to really drive home, that point, that don't worry about this damage meter. You need to do damage, you do, but you don't need to do the top damage if you're contributing in other ways, and it's really helpful for the team. So that's it, guys. That's the 19 Mist. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and you want more of these, drop a like down below. I really would appreciate that. It helps the algorithm a lot. If you have not subscribed yet, what are you doing with your life? Go press that red button right now. Until the next one, guys, we will see you later.